So happy for the 63 year of my life. This is my dream coming true. I'm extremely happy. Seriously, Islam in the world. I have now four people here who are really are warriors of Islam. Seriously, doing jihad for Islam. They have devoted all their lives to Islam. I don't know whether Carl remembers that our sisterhood, brotherhood actually started in 2000, early 2000. When I first actually read poetry from Anne-Marie Schimmel, he came close to me and asked, "Where do you know this?" And I said, "I know it from my teacher, Samia Ayverdi's book that Anne-Marie Schimmel, referred to." And then he came to me crying, and that same year, when Kenan Rifai was present in Milano, I think, as far as I remember, before priests, he mentioned my teacher Kenan Rifai. This happened after 2000 we met. So what he thought was Kenan Rifai is a big Sufi, a great mutasawwif, and his perspective would actually spread the real understanding of Islam. That's what I've understood from him. My teacher says the following, which actually confirms what Carl is saying. Tasawwuf starts with humanity. It's actually an individual kind of entity that is freed of humanity, of religion concern, and the Kemal, the perfection, is found in Islam. And since it actually embraces all, it's like an exploding volcano. Since the volcano's lava cannot be held with the palm of a hand, and there is no other force that can actually stop tasawwuf, prevent tasawwuf from flowing into the soil, into the ground of the earth. So as we can see, from the west to the east, Allah's meaning, mana, spirit, is actually being explained with all directions. I don't know what to say. I've prepared so many things. Maybe I will be saying some other things. East was actually my dream, being the far east, and west being the far west. Why in the east? Because the hadith says, seek knowledge even in China, and especially in Ibn Arabi said the last perfected human being will come from China. So that has also affected me. I thank Allah every day because I have friends like Chitik and Murata, because they really understand Islam. They really explain and teach it very effectively. They are great teachers. They have initiated confusion and Islam pleasure, the pleasure of learning and knowing Confucian and Islam in China. They don't actually know, but in the conference that we've organized this year in China, the Chinese students came to me saying how important, how significant an event this is. You can't imagine. Chinese Islam was only consisting of praying and fasting, because unfortunately Wahhabi Islam is about to be spread. But now that's Chitiks have started and Avani going on with their interpretations, with the studies on Hazreti Mevlana. We are learning the real meaning of Islam religion, and Chinese Muslims have started to learn their religion from this chair. So in this way, such a bright future is actually being presented to us. So we want to go and learn Islam from Chitik and then spread around everywhere in China and teach Islam. So as Chitik has very rightfully said, the Turkish Muslims there, the Uyghur Muslims were asking for us, please send us Mesnevi. We will read Mesnevi. Will there be no rights for us? they said in Pekin, they asked in Pekin University whether Islam is not going to be taught at universities, and Du said that's the first time that has ever happened when a Uyghur Muslim is actually asking for his right in the context of university. So Kenan Rifai's fabulous vision is now open. Omid Safi, my dear son, mentioned a story. The Turks who live in Rum, Diyari Rum, and the Chinese, the Turkish people living in Diyari Rum then. Chinese actually drew a beautiful, fabulous picture that was as beautiful as a material painting. Material knowledge actually really affects people, so it was so bright and effective. And the Turks who lived in Asia Minor, in Rumeli Diyar Mur, they just polished that wall. So, and all this beautiful picture is reflected on this empty polished wall. So all these beauties should be reflected on the polished wall. That's only when beauty is manifest. So the ilim of illuminated heart is actually like the language of bird that would appeal to everyone, because he is the manifestation of the hadith say, time is Allah. This is an exploding, mold-breaking hadith. Time is Allah. Why is it so surprising? Because Allah sometimes says that Allah says, I can be manifest in a tree. So who manifests in time? It's actually Allah's attributes. So they are the fathers of time. They are the human being of each and every era. The best example for this is when Kenan Rifai actually gave the first notebook he wrote to my mother. It was actually a Confucian teaching. The notes were about Confucian teaching. That was a comparative study of Confucian teaching and Mevlana. When I said this to Professor Du, he was so amazed, so shocked. And as you can see, all the religions are embraced, but one foot being stable in the Sharia, and like Rumi said, with the other foot being together with the 72 peoples, Hazreti Kenan Rifai is actually making us serve people so that the real Islam will be explained. I am 63 years old and 34 kilos. I'm a miracle for most people. But really, being full of Allah's love make you act all the time. And this is what Kenan Rifai does. It's the energy that he gives me. It's actually him that sends Eylül to Harvard penniless, and sends Fahir and Can Güzel to the States, and make them serve Islam. So with numerous students in black, with purple Eflatun headscarves they have, serving only for God of love, for Ashk is his energy. This energy actually initiated 2 chairs yesterday, and tomorrow he will be doing some other tasks. So what is it that we are planning to do? I would like to share with you. The first is, inshallah, we would like to initiate a chair in Oxford University. This is actually for the young researchers who complete their PhD degree, so that they can actually be a member of the fellowship program and pursue their post-PhD studies. So they will carry out their own research and will also offer courses. So these courses will be done in master level as well as PhD level. It's actually the Oxford University that has asked us to do so. Why do you think they have actually asked us to do it? Because it's the Wahhabi Islam being spread, and we don't want that. So I actually strongly believe in the fact that if Allah wants something, it is actually Allah that makes it successful. So we are now waiting for the right time, for Allah's time to happen, for it to take place. For the first time, we have now established an institute, a Tasawwuf institute at a university in Istanbul called Üsküdar University. And this university serves three purposes. The first one, as we have been talking about, the main aim of Islam, the greatest problem in this world, which is Ahlaki Muhammadi. So it's to spread Muhammad's beautiful conduct. And certificate program is now running. The meaning of Tasawwuf, Ibn Arabi and Mevlana texts are analyzed and discussed. And there are so many applicants waiting in the waiting list. And our teachers have started teaching. And inshallah, the second certificate program is going to be opened, and the applicants are already full now. Perhaps they are not master's or PhD degree kind of studies, but they address a wider audience. So the second one is the graduate level programs. To start graduate level programs, first time in Turkey, people who are coming from different fields of education. For example, a psychologist coming to the course. A psychologist, without knowing Rumi, without knowing Arabic and Persian, how can he actually cure a person? I think even the psychiatrists now know that you can't cure a person without knowing Rumi. So like engineers like myself and lawyers and teachers, we have to actually open the way, the path to really be able to become human beings. At least they can learn Persian and Arabic so that they can go further in their career and reading. So Persian and Arabic, being competent in those two languages is very important. But as we know, the Quran cannot be learned just by knowing Arabic, because it's Allah's language. It is the language of the illuminated heart. Like James Morris said, so James Morris actually nodded in the places where really in Turkish speakers pinpointed important spiritual events. So he, not knowing Turkish, was able to understand the hearts. Kenan Rifai's poetry we have. There are the poetry being translated by Asuman Kulaksız and Aylin, and these are very important sources of Tasawwuf. And beside this, in Süleymaniye Library, there is a lot of manuscripts that is not open to public. Only 20% is now known. So we will actually try to encourage these texts to be taught in universities together with my colleagues coming from the West, and spread the Islamic Tasawwuf understanding that is derived from Ottoman culture to the whole world. That is the mission Kenan Rifai is actually make us perform, inshallah. I may not be able to see all of them, but I'm so certain that even though we can't do anything ourselves, we have tried to raise much more qualified students than ourselves. So when I see them talk, I just open my hands and thank Allah, like Samia Anne did, that whatever we did today, they're going to be doing much more. So even in Japan, inshallah, the chair under Kenan Rifai's name will be opened with the help of Sashiko Murata, with her enormous support, spiritual support. This is my red apple to spread Islam in Japan. May Allah bestow this upon us, inshallah, and make it come true. There may be people saying that we're not academic enough, and what I'd like to say to them is that I'm not academic. We are just trying to convey the understanding of academia of our teachers. So all this beauty belongs to our teacher. Our teacher is a real perfected human being. Just a session ago, Asuman Kulaksız and Yekta gave beautiful examples. And Turgut abi also mentioned a real Mürşid-i Kamil who is Samiha Ayverdi. Very beautifully explained. We are following their footsteps. The love of Allah, the love of the Prophet, and ahlak-ı Muhammad is what we're trying to explain, which is what will save this world. This kind of an understanding of tasawwuf. Kenan actually thanked us because we're not emotional, but I said to myself how I wish Kenan would wait and hear mine. We are servants, we are happy to serve, and may Allah actually exalt the souls who have taught us to serve. Like Turgut abi said, we are in unity of sources, coming together shoulder to shoulder with all my friends coming from the West and with all the audience present here and my students. May Allah be content with them. I am so thankful to my mother and I bow before her presence. Thank you very much.